everybody? Welcome to Let's Look at Oregon Trail Director's Cut. Apparently, I didn't play the original cut, but we're here with the Criterion collection of this zombie-themed Oregon Trail or Oregon Trail. I don't want to call it a rehash, it's like a copy, it's an Oregon Trail clone, if you will. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because it's not like there's somebody sitting at home who developed Oregon Trail being like, God, my IP has been stolen from me. In any case, I'm rambling. Let's get started here, and I'll tell a brief little story here as we start our campaign mode. Yes, I already have an existing game, but we're gonna overwrite it, because I'm like half an hour into that existing game, and things are not going well. I am gonna skip the intro sequence as well. So the way that Oregon Trail works is that it is basically, if we compare this to something like Super Amazing Wagon Adventure, both of which obviously take that kind of like Oregon Trail pastiche and apply it in a more modern formula, this is definitely the more traditionally Oregon Trail-y, take a drink every time I say the name of that game, of the two. It's much more strategic, it's much less about, you know, being a side-scrolling shooter, and much more about being, you know, a little bit more, I guess, resource management-y, but there are also some, like, real-time stuff that we'll get into as well. In any case, in true YouTuber fashion, obviously, I have to make myself the party leader. I'm going to assume that I'm Shaun of the Dead here. These are obviously zombie references, as you can see. I believe these are the three of the dudes from Zombieland. I'm not quite sure who that is, but I'm sure someone will enlighten me. So obviously, we need to also have Michael A.L. Fox with us, and why not J. Smith OTI? I should probably just name them, like, by their real names. Let's go Rock Lee Smile. And who would be a funny, unrelated YouTuber to toss in here with us? I don't know. You know what? Why don't we throw in Omrecker here? He's not really unrelated, but this is just so we don't spend too much more time with it. So we built our squad. As far as I can tell, the names have absolutely no difference. I'm going to assume that Omrecker's the lady there. No offense. There can be only one Ryan in any case. So when we get started here, we have to choose what resources we are going to take with us. So I am going to take, by the way, every one of these that you take represents 1 hour loss. So we only have, you know, we have 8 things here. We can take 1.5 in everything, basically. So we can take 2 in half and 1 in the other half, if that makes any sense. So I think, you know, I'm going to take 2 food. I'm going to take 2 ammo. I'm going to take 1 battery, 1 muffler, 1 tire, 2 money, 2 medkits, and 1 fuel. Because we can always, fuel is pretty easy to come by. And then we're going to start going here. Now, if you've never played Oregon Trail, it is a game that looks pretty much exactly like this. That was a hallmark of, you know, the school experience for people my age, shall we say. When computers first started getting involved in schools, or, you know, getting placed in schools, it was this that we would play most of the time, and other shitty edutainment games. But Oregon Trail was actually a pretty fun game in its own right, although there is some nostalgia as well. Alright, so we've already lost half of a gas can. Basically, this is like a very early version of something like FTL, where we're going to be trying to get to the end of the United States here. We're starting in, I don't know, maybe New York or Washington, D.C., and we're trying to get all the way to the west coast of the, you know, Oregon, essentially, or Oregon in this case. So we're going to try to get there. Every time you click, we're going to move a little bit further ahead here, and we're going to have a lot of landmarks along the way. J. Smith OTI has a fever, and the only cure is, well, to be honest with you, probably some form of antibiotics or vaccinations. The only water you can find is sludge from a runoff drain. You reluctantly drink it. That is not good. I think we're going to be sick dudes in a little while. Soon we should be able to see the next town. A gas can fell off the car and slipped. By the way, we can look at our stats and be like, okay, we're losing actually a lot of fuel. I think we might have started with either 7 cans or 10 cans, so this is obviously not going too well for us so far. But we're going to go into this town here, or this bridge, or whatever kind of landmark this is. A bandit sneaks up on you and grabs Michael A.L. Fox. Is he okay? Oh, we're gonna have to... Okay, I only get 1 shot. So let's aim, and then we gotta make sure we don't shoot Michael A.L. Fox in the head. Oh, no! That was kind of bad, but at least we got rid of that sucker before anything awful happened. Okay! Here we are in Pittsburgh, already down 1 party member. That was the first time I've ever encountered that kind of situation here. So we can check out our party and be like, yep, for whatever reason, they decided they had a serious vendetta with Michael A.L. Fox. Maybe that was Red Panda Gamer. In any case, in our town, which makes up, you know, kind of the other half of the Oregon Trail experience. By the way, this is a Greenlight joint. It originally just came out on Desura, I think, but it got green little while ago and is now available on Steam for $5. I saw these guys at PAX too, although I didn't get a chance to talk to them. Again, but in any case. So we're in this town here. We can look at our supplies and see, like, okay, well, we're doing okay on everything except fuel, probably. Maybe we could use more scrap, and we can probably do with less ammo, actually. And there's a number of things we can do in each town to kind of improve our chances of survival. For one, we could just kill maybe J. Smith OTI if we wanted, because he's sick. But unless he's been bitten by a zombie, this seems a little bit rash, shall we say. We can also repair our car, or we could set its pace. Let's set its pace to normal, which incurs greater damage and greater risk, but at the same time also makes you get to towns faster. We could upgrade our car if there's an auto shop here, which there is not. But there's also things like scavenging, for example. So let's scavenge, and usually this will allow us to pick up some food, some scrap, occasionally some money. And this basically takes the form of a twin-stick shooter, so let's just try to aim here. Basically, I'm moving around with WASD. I'm actually not sure if you guys are going to be able to see my mouse pointer, which is going to make it a little bit difficult to kind of explain what's going on with the aiming here. But basically, the way we aim is kind of like firing a slingshot. Like, you pull back in the opposite direction that you want to shoot, and then let go. And by letting go, okay, we just got to get that grocery bag. Basically, the scavenging missions, I believe, are entirely focused on just survival. Oh, man, this is not good. If you survive for I'm dead. Well, not dead, but I got hurt anyway. Sometimes when you get hit by a zombie, you'll be infected. Sometimes it just takes off a lot of health. In any case, I got 175 ounces of food, which actually doubles our existing food. But yeah, you pull back the gun almost like a slingshot and then fire it. The distance doesn't matter with like the strength of which you pull it back. You're just kind of picking a direction. Okay, so that's scavenging. You can do that as much as you want, but you might want to wait until zombie activity is a little bit lower. You can trade with people, but no one's willing to trade here, so we're just going to skip over. We could change our rationing to see how much food we're going to use, but we're not going to worry about that. Sometimes there'll be someone who will give us like a combat training perk for like 80 bucks. Don't worry, we are almost done with the town mechanics. There is an auto shop where we could buy things like a battery or, you know, tires and muffler. If we end up losing those, we could just repair our car as well. Which will cost us $24 to repair that little bit, which I don't think is worth it. Or we could buy an upgrade. What's our upgrade? Batteries never need replacing for $48. You know what? That seems like a pretty solid upgrade. So I did buy that. Now, there are also jobs, and we might as well talk about the buying station first. So you can buy things here that maybe you're finding it difficult to scavenge, and this will be necessary. We're going to buy some fuel here. A good thing I took 2 money, because I'm going to spend an awful lot just to get some more fuel here to keep us going. We've got more than enough ammo, though. We could sell things as well. But the other big one, basically scavenge and jobs are the things that I do a lot. So let's see what we have here. I'm having trouble sleeping. I see movement outside. Come protect me. Difficulty normal. Payment 57 food. So every job has both a reward and a difficulty associated with it. By the way, the aiming is pretty difficult, at least at first. And I've only played this for about an hour or so. On this mission, all we have to do is survive and not let any zombies hit us. So provided we live long enough... oh god, I fired in the wrong direction. Provided we kind of stay alive and manage to kill all the zombies before they get to us, we will get the 57 food here. Otherwise, if we fail, in all likelihood, we will take some damage as the party leader. And we won't get our 57 food reward. Now, mind you, the 57 food... Oh man, sometimes I get messed up with the controls here. That's kind of a sore spot for me in this game. The aiming system, I don't know if it necessarily works fantastically. I don't know if it's deliberately... kind of, I'm not going to say bad necessarily, but deliberately kind of weird, or if that's just, you know, maybe my mouse has something to do with it. We did survive that, though, but it is certainly unusual, and I find it difficult. But yeah, there's a few different kinds of basically, like, individual encounters we'll have here. This one is fairly difficult as well. In fact, this is suicide difficulty, which is obviously going to be fairly difficult for us, but at the same time, also provides a greater reward, potentially. So the interesting thing about this one is that we are vulnerable when we're shooting enemies, but they're vulnerable when they're shooting at us as well. So what we actually have to do, we kind of have to predict when the enemies are going to pop up. Because if we shoot after they've already popped up, we have no chance of success. Our bullets simply travel too slowly, at least in our current state. We can get like perks for those eventually. Luckily we have 400 ammo, because this could take me 100 years to do. There we go, we got one. Now we'll start whittling them down and making some progress here. It's more difficult than it looks. I can almost certainly promise you that if you think this looks super easy, you're underestimating the difficulty here. There we go. We got 2. I'm just gonna try to whittle them down on this side a little bit. There's 3 down. Even just to like visualize where the shots are gonna go, the long range ones anyway. And again, the timing has to be borderline perfect here. You have to get them, again, if you try to shoot at them right as they stand up, it won't work. You actually have to kind of like check out the pattern. Just trying to get this guy up in the corner here. There we go. So we've got all the guys on that side. Now we might get lucky and be able to take out some of them here. Again, I should definitely not be shooting after they pop up. This is actually one of the easier ones for me, although it also has like the highest learning curve by far. It took me a little while to be able to, you know, do this one reliably. But once I figured it out, hey, being able to get three extra cans of fuel is pretty important. We've only got one dude left. Now, mind you, of course, I am spending my own resources to make this happen, so I spent a lot of ammunition to make that happen. But it went pretty well. So we're done with jobs in the city. Now we might want to, you know, rest a little bit. Let's take a rest. Every hour we rest, it's going to cost us some food, but let's rest for 4 hours regardless. And this should let our guys get a little bit healed. It's also going to cost us food. But they'll heal up a little bit. J. Smith OTI still has a fever, but otherwise he's doing okay. As you can see, this is a game that moves much slower than Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. And the reason I'm comparing it to that consistently is because... Oh, awesome. Congratulations, Josh. The reason I'm comparing it to that constantly is because I feel like that's what people are going to be more familiar with as opposed to Oregon Trail. Although, you know, Oregon Trail is also kind of ubiquitous as well. But these two games came out fairly simultaneously or around the same time, which is kind of unique. So I feel like they kind of warrant comparison, if that makes sense. You must cross a horde of zombies in order to continue on the road. The horde in front of you is currently massive in size and appears to be alert. So we can try to sneak through. This is like straight FTL right here. Not to say that one is copying the other or anything like that, but just to kind of compare it. So we have 3 different options here. We can attempt to sneak through, break out guns, and clear a path, or wait and see if the horde disperses. Let's try to sneak through. So we're going to see like a little, for lack of a better word, a cutscene here, and we're going to fit through. And once we get to the other side, we'll see if things worked, or if maybe Josh got kidnapped by a zombie and murdered. Oh, we successfully snuck through the horde. Fantastic. Alright, so now we're going to continue driving here. So that was basically, I went a little slower than I'll probably go for the rest of the game here. Omrecker has cholera. What the hell were you doing, man? I don't know how to catch cholera. I assume it's some kind of bacterial infection. I don't know how to fix him, by the way, unless we come across a doctor or something, which I've never had happen. But yeah, we're going to move a little bit faster now and see how far we can get. The game, it's longish. Rockley Smile gets shot by a stray bullet. I hate when that happens. Things move pretty slowly, you know. Every run that I've done in this has been, you know, half an hour to 40 minutes long. And I haven't made it. I think the furthest I've ever made it is St. Louis, which, if I understand it, is roughly halfway through the United States. It's in the central time zone, at least. Let us, again, we're going to go to jobs here first. Drive something of great value just outside of town. If you find it, please return it. Payment is 3 scrap, difficulty normal. So the way that this one works is that we're just using WASD to move around, and our only objective here is to actually get to the box at the end. There will be like an objective, basically, that we're going to try to get to. So I'm not going to waste any ammo shooting at guys unless they are actually in front of me, because if they're not in front of me, then they have no ability to hit me, basically, because I can outrun them. So all these ones that are behind us actually don't pose any risk to me whatsoever. I'm getting kind of lucky with my shots here, but again, all we need to do is actually touch this crate, and by touching this crate, we will succeed. We'll get paid the scrap. Scrap is something we use to repair our car, essentially. So that wasn't really a huge reward, but at the same time, it also wasn't that much of a problem. So I have almost no money, but I really want this body armor. Take 20% less damage from losing a combat. If there's any way that I could get some more money, I mean, there is. I could, you know, sell things, but I kind of don't want to, because we're not doing great on anything. Maybe medkits. We could sell some medkits. Let me see if I can make that happen. How much does each medkit sell for? 10 bucks. You know what? I will sell 5 medkits to take us up to $68. And then maybe we can sell a little bit of ammo. I'm at $3.29. I'll sell 6. I could probably afford to sell 80 ammo. And that'll take us right up to 80 bucks. Hopefully I don't need to buy anything else for a while, because I am going to pick up this body armor upgrade. And that leaves us with literally 0 money. We should probably rest a little bit. You know, we're probably going to be fine with a 3-hour rest here. And we're going to want to get some food at our next stop. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to scavenge at each spot or each town. But Omrecker no longer has cholera. Again, congratulations, buddy. The human immune system never ceases to amaze me. Scavenging is probably a good idea, though, so let's try that one more time, just so we can make sure to keep our food up, because we use like 100 per stop, roughly, is how I've been approximating it. We don't just get food from these, by the way. We can also get, you know, money, scrap, fuel, etc., etc. Basically, any kind of supply can show up during these, but food is definitely, scavenging is like the mission to get food, essentially. That's gonna be some money as well. Sometimes you can find a lot of money. Like, I've earned as much as 50 bucks just doing this, which is pretty important, because that could be, you know, 2 cans of fuel, which makes a big difference. I don't know how the wallet compares to the big bag with a $sign on it. That's what the burglars always wanted to take in the movies, so I assume that that's got a lot of money in it compared to just, you know, measly old wallet. Which is just plastic, and I doubt you're gonna find too many places that take Visa this time. Alright, so we found $70, 35 ounces of food, so that's a new record in terms of money, I suppose. Let's leave our town here and continue onwards. So far, so good. I've never beaten the game, as I've mentioned. We're 15 minutes in here, and I haven't really talked that much about my overall impressions of the game so far, which is kind of, you swerve to miss a squirrel and get stuck in a ditch. That's unfortunate. That means we'll probably just stay still for an encounter here, or go slower, I don't know. Yeah, but that's kind of not what I usually do when it comes to Let's Look Ats. In terms of my impressions of Oregon Trail so far, as we go into Indianapolis here, I like the game. It's $5. It's really cheap, and it's definitely a trip down, you know, memory lane, or a trip through nostalgia. If you're someone like myself who played Oregon Trail a little bit, or sorry, Oregon Trail a little bit when you were in public school. Yes, despite being in Canada, we did indeed play Oregon Trail now and then. That being said, after playing Super Amazing Wagon Adventure, not to, again, continue to foster what may or may not be a rivalry between the two, I have no idea. But I enjoyed the kind of take that Super Amazing Wagon Adventure had a little bit more of this. I thought that was more of like, just it was a parody, but it was also just kind of straight up joyful a lot of the time, which I really appreciated. This definitely takes a starker and more serious tone, and there's nothing innately wrong about that, but my personal preference is that it's almost, in a way, it's a little bit too Oregon Trail-y for me. Like, it feels a little bit dated, not just in graphics, which I have absolutely no problem with, but, you know, the controls are a little bit wonky, and to a certain extent the game does get a little bit repetitive, although I will say Super Amazing Wagon Adventure, incredibly repetitive as well, because you're basically going through the same encounters over and over. At least this one has a, not necessarily randomness associated with it, but things do change on a run-to-run basis. I don't even think we need to rest here. Let's check out our jobs, though, because I want to earn some more money. Sure, there's a gang of bandits who have been terrorizing our settlement. Get rid of them. There's a group of people in a hostile, or there's a hostile group of people in a building, etc., etc. So we're doing exactly the same mission here, actually, but this one pays us more money, so I'm going to go with it. And this one is going to be much easier. I guess it doesn't get any more difficult than having 8 bandits, so... Okay, I've never lost one of these, by the way. I've spent a lot of ammo on them, but I've never actually lost one. So I don't know if you have to get hit more once or just more than once. Usually, almost everything in this game is just get hit once, so that's what I'm assuming this would be as well. This is going to be an easy $34 to make. 2 ammo is something that is almost kind of overkill. I've used half of my ammo so far, but I also sold about, what, 30% of it? Anyway, let's see if we can buy something useful here. We're back to $184, which is pretty good. I don't think I necessarily need anything, though, unless we go check out our supplies. No, we're still good. I like to have 2 of everything in the car, just in case something breaks down on the way to somewhere. I mean, it might be nice to get some more fuel. Do we have combat? No, oh, I didn't equip combat training! I think I bought it, but I never equipped it. Or maybe I didn't buy it. In any case, that's really stupid of me. Is there an auto shop? There is. What can we buy for our car? Air freshener. Party members in front take 1 less damage. Is that good? I don't know, but we'll equip it. In any case, let's leave and continue onwards here. I'm not sure if we're going to finish one game of Oregon Trail here. You've lost on a backcountry road. You've lost an hour on a backcountry road, essentially. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish an entire run of Oregon Trail. I find it hilarious, by the way, that Mike got killed 2 seconds in and everybody else is basically sitting pretty. You aren't sure which way to go. You lose an hour bickering with Ohm Wrecker. Way to go, man. So I guess we're making our way to... We're just in Indianapolis, right? I think we're making our way to Chicago next, which marks maybe like the 30% of the way through the game. So again, I don't want to necessarily sit here for an hour and play through the entire campaign of Oregon Trail because someone farted. J. Smith OTI. Actually, that would probably be me. So we're losing a lot of time here, and time is food, essentially. But, you know, this is a game that, if this was something that cost $15, I would be like, you know, we're getting a little bit expensive here. But at $5, I think this is, you know, absolutely... Faster Bullets is a really good one. I'm going to buy that for sure. What was I going to say? At $5, this is the game that definitely, I think it has a good value proposition. Not that, you know, money versus time is always the be-all, end-all when it comes to evaluating games. But, you know, it does matter when you're dealing with a game like this, where I think a lot of the sales here are going to be that the game's okay, and a lot of the sales are going to be like, oh, it's Oregon Trail plus zombies. So, you know, and it definitely, it is Oregon Trail plus zombies, but not necessarily in a bad way. There are a lot of references to zombie culture, or zombie mythos, if you will. Like the fact that, you know, we're going to malls, we're occasionally going to farmlands. You'll see characters show up on the screen that have become horror icons, if you will, or at the very least references to it. But, you know, my main problem with the game is that things get a little bit repetitive. Like, you just come into the town, you know, for the first 20 minutes or so, it's pretty exciting as you figure out what you're supposed to do. Remember, we did get this bullet upgrade, so now our bullets travel twice as fast, which is probably going to make those bandit sections a lot easier, I'm assuming. I wish I reloaded twice as fast, because it appears we're going to die here. Sometimes my guy gets turned around, and I can't figure out how to turn him the other way again, which is unfortunate. Now he just appears to be stuck again. Again, I don't think that's an issue with my mouse, but, you know, I have substantial control issues now and then with this game. These guys are bearing down on me like Brian Urlacher. It's okay, get him! Oh, we're overrun, and I got overrun and got injured in the process. And now the jobs are done. At least I'm not dead, though. Might want to come back here. You know what? We'll medkit up. Give one there. What's cool, actually, I will say, we're not going to get a chance to see this because I've already gone too deep. I will actually see if there's a... Nope, no auto shop. So we can basically just leave. I think we're still doing okay. But we have to use... Oh, okay, occasionally this happens as well. There will be, like, not necessarily QuickTime events, but encounters. QuickTime events is not correct at all, by the way, but encounters that'll happen as you leave the settlement, like that horde of zombies and the bike gang here. I've only ever seen these two. There may indeed be more, though. Again, I've only played, at this point, about an hour and a half. So what we have to do is run into these guys with our car. It actually doesn't hurt us to run into them with our car, but if they shoot us, they will do a lot of damage. You might have seen that we just took a substantial amount of damage from them right there. So this is what we have to do to defend ourselves, basically. Otherwise, they will destroy all of our, you know, car's health, which will cause us to probably absolutely die on the side of the road. But what I was going to say that's super cool is when you die, and you being the party leader, if any of your party dies, that's okay. But if you die, then the game ends, and you'll have a tombstone that shows up. And sometimes when you're driving by, it'll be like, you see a familiar-looking tombstone. Would you like to stop and take a look at it? And then you can see like your own tombstone and the epitaph if you chose to write one for it. And that's kind of neat. But again, at the same time, it's kind of, you know, it's not a game seller, I think, but it adds to the atmosphere a little bit. The main complaint I have about this game is that it is repetitive and it gets a little bit boring. But in terms of like nailing that nostalgia, it absolutely hits those notes. So I think this will be Chicago. In Chicago, we'll probably go back to the main menu, maybe. I think Josh broke his leg and I wasn't paying attention, which is pretty much the story of that guy's life. But here we are in Chicago. Again, this is the kind of thing where you might want to medkit up Josh a little bit. Maybe Rockley Smile can use one as well. And medkit basically allows us to heal without resting, which causes us to lose food. Resting does. And maybe also it heals diseases, which seem to happen now and then. Why don't we scavenge, and then we'll do one more job, and then we'll probably call it quits on this. So, I haven't really mentioned, there's a couple more things I should talk about before we get out of here, just to explain some more mechanics of the game, like how to repair your car, which is actually kind of a big deal now, because we had to deal with that bike gang. But beyond that, we can probably just leave. But yeah, the most successful run that I've had so far, I was going to say runs, but that would be a misnomer, because I've only done 3 runs of the game so far, but again, each one of those is fairly long. The most successful runs I've had so far have been ones where I've definitely prioritized getting like perks for myself and my squad. So any opportunity that I have to buy those combat training upgrades or the upgrades for the station wagon, I take them. Now, there's perspective on this, but usually these guys will just kill me as soon as they walk over to me. So, okay, we've escaped with 20 scrap and 200 ounces of food. Good. Let's talk about scrap very, very quickly. So we can repair our car, and it almost has like the pit style of mechanic here, where we have a certain percentage chance of success, and this varies based on how much scrap we want to use. So you know what? Why don't we use 7 scrap and try to repair this here? It'll take an hour to set up, I think, which is going to cost us 8 food, apparently. Less because that Dingleberry Michael A.L. Fox is dead, and repairs were successful, so we can, you know, do that again. Maybe we want to try 4 scrap this time and take another hour in order to maybe repair our car a little bit more, so it can take a little bit more of a beating, and repairs were successful again, so that's luckier than usual. Let's see if we can just get one more job done here. Recovery, have we done that? Yes. Which one gives us more money? They're both dangerous. This one gives us more money, so this is what we're gonna do. This one, again, is just one where we have to get to the crate. I can't recall off the top of my head how many types of missions there are. There's like the horde mode, essentially, where the zombies just run at you. There's the scavenge one, where you're trying to just make sure that you stay alive. And then there's these ones where you have to get to an objective, and then there's the ones with the bandits. So there, you know, 3 or 4 basically that you're gonna see over and over again, whether positively or negatively. It gets old. You know, objectively, essentially, at the point to a certain extent where I'm like, you know what? Oh god, don't fuck it up. I'm at the point where I kind of just am done with these. If there was any way I could just like pay somebody from my party to do it for me, then that might be exciting for me and allow me to kind of focus on the more strategic elements, if you will. Again, I don't have to murder this guy. I hit him once, so that'll slow him down enough so that he doesn't have to hurt us. There is some like ammo conservation if you want there to be. You don't necessarily have to worry about it all that much, though. This could be a problem, though. Oh, we got a lucky shot there. And it's something that it's certainly, that was terrible. Again, the perspective's a little weird on that, too. It's basically as soon as the pixels touch, even if, you know, if you're looking at it from kind of a weird angle, anyway, doesn't really matter. That's how Atari 2600 worked, or Apple II, whatever the fuck Oregon Trail was on. In any case, that's gonna do it for Oregon Trail. I'm gonna see if I can exit out to the main menu. You can't always in these games, but I was gonna do that to show off the other features. There is like a save game and continue later mode, which is important because these games do go on for a long time. As you can see, we're less than halfway through in about a half hour here. Of course, I've been talking, but the save game feature is important. Beyond that, there is an endless mode. I don't actually know how that one works, if it's just like enemies coming at you consistently like in the horde mode. But the campaign mode seems to be the focus. It's good enough to justify a $5 purchase, absolutely, if you guys are, you know, nostalgic about Oregon Trail. It's not gonna blow your mind. For me, it's not as much fun as something like Super Amazing Wagon Adventure was, but these games don't have to be mutually exclusive. It's not like you're going to see Deep Impact or Armageddon if you're into the kind of aesthetic that Oregon Trail offers. This one's more authentic. Super Amazing Wagon Adventure is a little bit more Neo-Oregon Trail, if you will. Both are, you know, worthwhile in their own way, shall we say. So as always, there will be a link in the video description to check this out on Steam. As mentioned, this is a greenlight title, which means it's one of the best greenlight titles, as I am giving it, you know, a mild recommendation here. And there will be a link to check that out on Steam. It is going for $5 right now, as far as I can remember. But again, as always, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.